We played against Origen some games in practice, and I knew Origen were gonna win 3-0. They seem to know what champions to pick right now and what to play overall.
Especially if we execute better, we're gonna be having a really great series.
They are for sure a team that won't be easy to beat.
For us, it's more about pride than anything.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
That'll be first blood! Origin picks up! Origin keep their hopes of another final alive! What are you doing, man? What on earth is happening?
Everyone just wants to play in the finals, they want to win the finals, and they want to go to MSI. Right now I'm pretty confident that we can beat Origen.
There's no pinpoint weakness in H2K.
Our main goal is to go MSI and win the whole split.
I feel this pressure that we need to be better than what we were last year.
It doesn't matter where you end up, it just matters how you execute at the end of the season.
Good evening and welcome to the European LCS semi-finals, where just 3 wins separate the teams on stage for a shot at the Spring Championship, as we see Origen as they enter the building and looking for that plaque on the wall. And they're H2K, they're bros. They're also fighting on Rift, and there's some amazing cosplayers, Shaco, and Kindred. And the rest of our fans, well, super hyped for the semi-final. Got to meet some of them as well. Hello everyone, I'm EpicSkillshot, bringing you our coverage of today's series with the help of James Stress O'Leary, Martin de Ficio Lunga, almost messed it up, and coach of the UOL Sheepy. I only said that like 50,000 times in my life.
It doesn't matter how you do in the split, it's how you end.
Perform at the end. Yeah. Thank you so much for, or you want to jump in?
No, I'll say it's just because we have Sheepy here, you're getting a bit nervous, I guess.
Yeah, that must be it. So, well, thank you for being here, Sheepy. Obviously, not the easiest after getting knocked out last week, but you'll have some really good insights about OG.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the series and see if OG comes out ahead like they went against us, so let's see.
It would be better for you guys, of course, if they end up winning the whole split.
Yeah, that would look better for us, but I think, you know, the game, we're gonna go over it a little bit more in depth, but against us, we didn't have the strongest performance, and I think if OG shows the same today, it won't be enough against H2K.
Well, let's start by taking a look back after last week, of course. After those quarterfinals, just 4 teams remain in the running for first place and Europe spot at the mid-season invitational in Shanghai. And as you said already, not the best performance from you guys, and arguably also not the best performance from Origen in that matchup. And of course, Fnatic beating out Vitality. But yeah, just give me your 2 cents about that matchup, because it wasn't great, League of Legends.
Yeah, I think that we had a really good overview from the macro game, but once it went into like the mid game, OG just caught us off guard and we made terrible engages from our side, so they actually capitalized on this and just came out ahead.
So what did you feel that Origen did really well?
I think they know when to pick a fight. Like, I think all of their players are very experienced and they take a good opportunity when it comes to them. And I think they just also punished us for our mistakes. So whenever we like TP'd in without like a power spike, they just win.
I think, unfortunately, there were also mistakes, not to rub it in, Sheepy, from your team that, you know, characteristically we haven't seen from you guys in a while. So for Origen, certainly they got away with a lot in that series, and we'll see who can come away with a lot from today's games and tomorrow's as well, because here we're in the semi-finals of the playoffs. That means the winners from this weekend are going over to the grand finals, or the finals over in Rotterdam, and of course the losers will face off in the 3rd place game for those all-important championship points. You can see, Sheepy, your team have locked in 10 points.
Yay!
So maybe on the road to do the same as H2K did last year, getting to
It was almost them last year as well.
Oh man,
yeah.
The dreams, you know, destroyed again. But yeah, hopefully we do the same as H2K. Let's see.
I mean, Amazing also said it's all that matters at the end of the year, but if you don't get to Worlds at the end of the year, then I don't know.
Yeah, and I think also that statement is wrong, because you learn a lot during the split, obviously, where you have to perform, you have to try hard, so you come in even stronger for playoffs. Hopefully that is the case today, you know, for a team like H2K who's been tryharding from the start, and Origen who has been playing, you know, fairly lackluster and slacking before.
Yep, we will see, but our first of 2 semi-final series will get underway in just a few minutes as H2K square off against Origen, and they will start the day on the red side of the Rift. As we can see there, it's OG on the blue side, only for games 1 and 5. Sheepy, after, of course, playing that best of 5, what do you make of this side selection?
I'm actually a little bit surprised. I think that red side right now is really good, and I think it's really strong to mix it up as well. I think maybe if they have something prepared for it, you will definitely play one red side and one blue side game. So, you know, maybe they just try to throw it off and have a better preparation and win through that.
I actually agree on the red side being stronger now. Coming into quarterfinals, a lot of people were saying blue side were the stronger one because there were individual power picks you wanted, and a lot of blind pickable mages like Azir. People thought coming into the quarterfinals was a fine blind pick. Now we've learned obviously that's not really the case, and I think purple side will give you a pick like a Kassadin, maybe a Zed, maybe a Twisted Fate. Some of these picks we don't see being blind pick opens up for that, and it's very important this mid lane matchup here in both the games today and tomorrow, because it just sets up everything when it comes to these side lanes, which is going to be the big part.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. We'll continue that in just a second. Just also remind you guys that immediately following our coverage here in Europe, we will send things over to Los Angeles, California, where the NA LCS semifinals will begin with the clash between Counter Logic Gaming and Team Liquid, a very big matchup there as well. And throughout today's high-stakes match, we want to lend our I knew I was going to mess up. Our analysis to you. Tweet your playoff questions at LOL Esports with the hashtag AskTheDesk, and we'll get some answers later today.
Yeah, we'll, you know, we've always got some questions, Martin, whether it's about your Facebook post you posted about the meta. I like that.
Very interesting.
Maybe I'll pry a little deeper into that later.
I was about to say, where's the question?
I'm going to find a good one.
Oh,
okay?
you want to give the champions? That's here.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely pick Sheepy's brain, as we will as well, starting by talking about today's series and starting with the playoffs' second seed, which is H2K within the top lane. Odoamne, then jungling Jankos, then Ryu holding the mid lane, Forgiven at AD carry with his support Vander, and of course their coach Prolly. We were expecting H2K versus Vitality because of the seeding. If they would have beaten Fnatic, that would be the matchup we have had. That is not what happened. H2K had also expected Vitality and thus had been scrimming a lot of OG coming in. We heard that from Jankos on the desk as well. Sheepy, as a coach, do you panic a little bit then when you know that you've shown maybe a lot of strategies to that team already?
Really depends on the team. I think if you're a team that prepares very well, like level 1 strategies and new picks, that can hurt you a lot now. But I think that H2K is a team that really relies more on their confidence and picking a few champions that are known to be good and then just performing extremely well on them.
And also H2K, you know, entire split long, has always kind of made the correct play. That's why they're such a good macro team. You say, okay, right now, diving bot lane is the way to go. With a TP, that happens, you know, 30 seconds later. If that's what they're still practicing in scrims, you're not showing anything in that sense, because you're obviously just playing by the book. And it is predictable, I guess, but it's the correct place. So it's very hard to play against. And if you make a mistake, you get punished. Obviously, Origen probably learned some stuff. Maybe some new picks coming in. I'm not too sure. I think actually H2K had a full week now to then adapt from that and say, okay, they thought we were going to play this, now we're going to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, it didn't have to show anything in the regular season. They are up in 2-0 versus OG. They did fantastically well. We talk a lot about how strong H2K has been. What are the possible weaknesses that OG could exploit?
I think that they are sometimes overconfident. Like, we saw it against us in our team, against our match, where we actually won against them, where they make over-aggressive plays. We can TP and we can just slaughter them. I think that they rush it sometimes too much, and you know that can maybe something that will be exploited.
I think we also started to see some issues with team fighting come out from H2K as well. Just towards the end of the split, there were maybe communication issues throughout the team. And, you know, it was something we didn't really come to expect from a team that was so strong, but there were just these errors in team fights where maybe Forgiven got caught out, and it was, you know, something we just didn't really expect to see.
I mean, it fits in with what you're saying from your game, because they were winning in the early game big time, had a niddly pick for Jankos, snowballing out of control, and then the team fights happened. They didn't respect the TP flanks. That's some of the things we will look at. But I think H2K is a very well-rounded team. They have the talent now to back it up as well, which is something they were lacking a bit last year in certain positions. Now they should be able to go even with Origen in every single role and probably be better in some of them as well.
Yeah, we also can't forget that they did have those issues this year. Ryu had to step out and then step back in. They had Forgiven and the situation not being that easy for them. And we wanted to look at how Ryu has done this split, because we kind of had the idea that he hasn't been as dominant. But if we look at it, he's quite similar to PoE in terms of damage or team damage dealt. And of course, that doesn't mean that they're bad players. It's just connected to the way they play.
Yeah, obviously, this is a weird stat which doesn't tell the whole story, because it depends on your champion picks, and also maybe you funnel resources into other carries, like your top laner source was higher in the regular season compared to playoffs, where Power Wheel actually went up to 35%, so he suddenly was very impactful. It just means how the teams are playing around them.
Yeah.
And, you know, Ryu was always the guy who would very quickly go to a side lane, and then he would just be the guy who engages team fights. And then he would often just get one like small amount of damage in the start of the fight, and then he would have done his job, and someone else would finish it. Power of Evil, they just didn't play with him at all. He was just kind of stuck in mid lane doing nothing, and that's why he had very low numbers.
Exactly, and to speak specifically about Ryu after we saw him come back, just in general, Ryu's a player that, yes, he's played the Zed, the LeBlancs in previous times, but this split, all he's had to really play, Lissandra, Lulu, he's played a couple of games of Ahri in weeks 1 and 2, but ever since that, it's all been about facilitating the team, as you're talking about, so that's why perhaps he's on the lower end of the actual damage done charts.
Yeah, actually, it's like to see that Ryu picks up more like those team champions, like Lulu and Ahri as well, who can go on the side lane and you just go through laning phase and then you provide so much to your team with the flanks and also Lissandra with the TPs. It's just really, really strong. I think Ryu is always like somebody who always delivers, always holds even in lane, and if he has an assassin, can even be really dangerous on that.
And he is going up against Power of Evil, at least in game 1. Let's take a look at the rest of the lineup for the 4th seed today. Origen, and of course, Soaz in the top lane, then in the jungle. Amazing, as mentioned, Power starting for game 1, then Sven, Mithy, and their coach, Nico De Pico.
Best name ever.
Fantastic name. I do quickly want to get your opinion on Power of Evil's kind of growth of evolution throughout the split. We've had you on the desk for Coaches Week as well. How do you feel things went different for him in the quarterfinals? Because the team OG came out to say something clicked before the quarterfinals. Did you see that in his play?
I think he played confident. I think that's good, but he also had some kind of weaknesses. Before, like missing the first 2 shockwaves and the mid lane tower dive and the rotation, which was really important, especially in the early. So he still showed weakness, but at least like coming into the series, it grew more and more, and I think that he's delivering for the team, and I think that's the only thing that's important.
But the one thing that I will say is you look at Power of Evil as a player's growth last year and this year, I would actually say he's roughly at the same point that we saw from him in his performances in the mid lane. I don't think there's been a lot of personal growth. And maybe that's as Power of Evil and the team not working hand in hand, but certainly we didn't see the cleanest series from Origen last week, and that wasn't just on Power of Evil's shoulders either, but there was just mistakes here and there.
Yeah, as a team, they just, in a lot of respects, still seemed a little bit disjointed in decisions that were made. It was also quoted, when you play versus the Unicorns of Love, then you tend to go with the chaos. But I think if you're a strong enough team, you don't do that, and you dictate the pace yourself. Mithy came out and said, when he talked to Sefa for an interview that'll be up on LOL Esports as well, that it won't be an easy 3-0 for H2K if they had practiced and if they play well. I don't know how high those chances are, Fischer.
Obviously, that's a very standard statement, I guess. It would be weird if he came and said, yeah, we have no chance, we're going to lose no matter what. But this team has a lot of confidence. We talked, just me and Kepler were standing before and talking to Sven and Amazing. They're like, you know what, this is going to be closer than people expect, because they trust in themselves right now. I just want to see it in-game before I trust in it 100%, because against you guys, it became that messy affair. You guys kept joining into team fights, and then it kept taking the team fights and very back and forth.
Hey, Perks tweeted it would be closer than expected, and that was not a meme at all.
He was definitely memeing.
Quickly, the players already, so predictions, Sheepy.
I think H2K will take it 3-0 or 3-1.
I think 3-1, there'll be a game where Soaz gets Echo or Poppy, and that'll be it for OG, but 3-1, H2K.
3-0 H2K. I think jungle mismatch is a big deal for Jankos. He's going to be much better than Amazing in this one on Kindred, Graves, Nidalee. And I think that's going to snowball H2K.
Okay, we will see what happens. It's time to load up and see how the series plays out. And as we head inside, we'll hear from Amazing about playing in the postseason.
To be fair, we can say that regular season matters, but it doesn't. It still matters for seeding and everything like that, but in the end, you still have to beat the same teams. And obviously you can get easier openings in the first rounds, but the last rounds are still going to be the same openings. So it doesn't matter where you end up, it just matters how you execute at the end of the season, which is something that us and Fnatic have kind of like lived up to so far at least, and I think moving forward are able to do so too.